What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another video. Now, in today's video, we'll be covering 3 questions altogether, task 4, 5, and 6. So take out your notebooks, grab your writing utensils, and get ready to take some outstanding notes. That's the task 4 reading passage that we'll be covering today. The topic is subliminal perception. Let's look for the topic word first in the reading passage by skimming through the sentences. Okay, so humans are constantly perceiving, not interested, I'm looking for the topic. Perception comes out in the third to last line. Okay, the second to last line has subliminal perception in it, and it says something is called topic. This phenomena, the perception of a stimulus just below the threshold of conscious awareness, is subliminal perception. There's the definition. Threshold means the edge, the brink, okay? So the moment that conscious awareness starts is the threshold of conscious awareness. All right, now that we have a definition organized, we don't need the reading passage anymore, so let's listen to the lecture.
Consider this experiment. 2 groups of people were asked to watch TV, and while they were watching, a picture flashed on the screen. Less than a second, very quickly, so it was barely noticeable. The picture was of a boy with a birthday cake. Now, like I said, there were 2 groups, and each group saw a slightly different version of the picture. One group got the boy looking angry. In fact, he was actually throwing the cake on the floor. The other group got a picture of the boy smiling, happy, holding out the cake like he was offering it. Same boy, same cake, but different emotions expressed in each picture. Everyone was then asked to look at a different image. Now, this is a third image, right? Again, it's the boy and the cake, but this time the image stayed on the screen. In this picture, the boy's just holding the cake, basically no emotion on his face, everything very neutral. Now remember, nobody knew they'd already seen a picture of this boy. After a minute, everyone was asked to describe the boy's personality. Those who'd been exposed to the image of the angry boy, they generally described the boy's personality negatively. Those who'd earlier seen the happy boy described him, well, positively.
All right. Now, in this lecture, the professor gave us an experiment, okay? One experiment. Now, in the first section, I'm going to say, 2 groups of people watched television, and a picture of a boy with a birthday cake was shown on the screen for a split second, or for a brief moment. One group got a picture of an angry boy, while the other group got a picture of a happy boy. Then, so we're ignoring in addition to this. Then, these individuals were asked to look at a different image of a boy with no emotion on his face. However, the first group described his personality negatively, whereas the second group described his personality positively. Why? Because they were unconsciously remembering the image of the boy that they saw before they were asked this question, or they were asked to watch another image. All right, so those are the details that I'm going to say. It's not too much. It might look like a lot, but altogether, there are only 1, 2, 3, 4 complete sentences. They're kind of long, but only 4 sentences, okay? Let's see how I put it together. In the lecture, the professor elaborated on an experiment conducted on people watching television to explain the concept of subliminal perception. To begin with, in this experiment, 2 groups of people watched television, and a picture of a boy with a birthday cake was shown on the screen for a split second. One group got a picture of an angry boy, while the other group got a picture of a happy boy. Then, these individuals were asked to look at a different image of a boy with no emotion on his face. However, the first group described his personality negatively, whereas the second group described his personality positively. To sum up, this was a perfect example of subliminal perception, which is the perception of a stimulus just below the threshold of conscious awareness, given by the professor in the lecture. Thank you very much for your time and consideration. All right, I feel really good about the sample response because I spoke very steadily and still had enough time for an ending statement with the definition. Keep in mind, guys, this is a sample response with 4 complete sentences from the lecture. So guys, please, ladies and gentlemen, do not be greedy. Do not chase after too much information when you are taking notes, because that's the trap. All right? Now, let's move on to task 5.
Hey, Madison, what's wrong?
Oh, I'm just struggling about what to do. I won an award from the Pacific Journalism Institute for an article I submitted, and...
Doesn't sound like anything's wrong.
Well, it's a huge honor to win, and there's an awards ceremony they've invited me to attend, which I'm super excited about. But, and here's what's frustrating, I've got a philosophy exam that's scheduled to end right when the ceremony begins.
Uh-oh. You're saying you'd just be finishing up taking the exam right when the ceremony starts?
Exactly.
But those ceremonies never start on time. They give long introductions, you know, have a general speech or something before they ever get to handing out awards. I'm sure they won't be ready to hand out your award right at the beginning. Just go when you're done with the test. You won't miss anything important.
Maybe, but that's a bit risky. I don't want to miss being there when they announce my name.
Well, have you talked to your professor about this?
Dr. Forrester? No.
Maybe she'll let you take the exam some other time.
True. She lets people reschedule exams sometimes, but she always makes them take it a couple of days early. That would mean less studying time for me, which I'm not thrilled about.
Less time to study. Oh.
Like I said, I'm still struggling about what to do.
All right, now the task 5 conversation, the task 5 question is going to be disappearing in less than a month, but this is a really nice conversation to be presented with because the situation allows us to make a really quick decision, which is to pick the first solution due to the downside over here. Now, Madison has a problem because this is the way I'm deciding to organize it, because she might not be able to attend her award ceremony due to her test. So I'm going to change this because of to due to, since I don't want to say because twice in one sentence. Now, another way to organize the beginning sentence could be Madison is in between a rock and a hard place because she has an award ceremony right after her philosophy exam. That's fine as well, okay? The first solution is going to the award ceremony after the test, and the second solution is taking the test or exam at another time. I'm going to pick the first solution. The upside is Madison should be able to make it to the award ceremony on time before it starts. Now, the downside of the second solution is the woman will have less time to study for her test. Now, last but not least, the downside of our solution is she doesn't want to miss or be late to the award ceremony. Okay? Now, let's see how I put this all together. Madison is in between a rock and a hard place because she might not be able to attend her award ceremony due to her test. Fortunately, she can choose from 2 possible solutions, which are going to the award ceremony right after the test ends or taking the test at another time. If I were in the woman's shoes, I would personally prefer the first solution. To start with, this solution would be much better for her issue at hand because Madison should be able to make it to the award ceremony on time before it starts. On the other hand, since the woman will have less time to study, it would be impractical to choose the other possible solution. Although Madison doesn't want to be late to the award ceremony, going to the ceremony right after the test ends would still be better because grades are obviously very crucial for university students as they can affect their future positively or negatively. Needless to say, from where I stand, the first solution is the much better choice for these reasons. Okay, all right, let's move on to task 6.
So when we talk about the demand for a product, we're referring to how much consumers want to buy it, right? And often the demand for a product is influenced by its price. The more expensive it becomes, the less chance that people will want to buy it. Okay. But that's not the whole story. Sometimes the demand for a product can also be influenced by the price of other related products. First, there are those products called substitute goods. If products can be substituted for one another, then they're called substitute goods. They're similar enough to be interchangeable. And an increase in the price of one means an increase in the demand for the other, like butter and margarine. They're pretty much used for the same purposes. Margarine's a butter substitute, and you can bake equally well with either. Well, when the price of butter goes up, it becomes less affordable, and so what do people do? They buy margarine instead, right? So, you see, an increase in the price of butter increases the demand for margarine. Now, another instance where the price of one product can influence the demand of another is when you have two products that can't be used without each other. Those products we call complement goods. They complement or complete each other, if you will, like compact discs and compact disc players. You need both products in order to use either. So if the price of either product increases, demand for both is likely to decrease. And if the price of CDs goes up, well, demand for them will go down, right? And because CDs and CD players complement each other, what will also happen is that the demand for CD players will go down too.
All right, let's get right into my notes. Now, the beginning sentence is how the demand for a product can be influenced by the price of other products. Now, the hint word that you should be listening to quite carefully would be conjunctions, but most specifically, synonyms of but. Whenever the professor says but, however, in contrast, on the contrary, nonetheless, nevertheless, that's a sign that everything before that conjunction is basically unnecessary, is rubbish. So you can ignore it, okay? Now, the professor said the demand for a product several times before she mentioned but because I picked up on the word but, I was able to notice that the rest should be, can be influenced, and what I have written down. Now, the first section was about substitute goods, and the second section was about complement goods, P-L-E-M-E-N-T. Complement means to complete, whereas C-O-M-P-L-I-M-E-N-T means to praise, say good or positive things about. They are different words, okay? To begin with, substitute goods can substitute one another because they are basically interchangeable. For example, butter and margarine are substitute goods. Consequently, when the price of butter goes up, most people will choose to buy margarine instead. Furthermore, complement goods complement and complete each other. Needless to say, if the price of complement products increase, the demand of all related products will go down as well. Why? Because these commodities complete each other. All right, let's see how I put this all together. The professor gave a lecture about how the demand for a product can be influenced by the price of other products. To begin with, substitute goods can substitute one another because they are virtually interchangeable. For instance, butter and margarine are substitute goods. As a result, when the price of butter goes up, most consumers will choose to buy margarine instead. Furthermore, complement goods complement and complete each other. Needless to say, if the price of complement products goes up, the demand of all other related products will go down at the same time due to the fact that these items complete one another. In summation, this was how the demand for a product can be influenced by the price of other products, which was illustrated by substitute goods and complement goods, given by the professor in the lecture. All right, easy peasy lemon squeezy. It's a walk in the park. It's like taking candy from a baby. As long as you keep it simple and stick to the details that you feel comfortable saying or don't have such a difficult time organizing, you will be in a really good position. But if you keep being greedy, if you keep chasing after information, and if you keep succumbing to the idea that you have to speak quickly and say a bunch of words to get a good score, then the entire process will feel like an uphill battle that's not going to be enjoyable nor fruitful. So guys, simplify the whole process for yourself because it's what's necessary. Okay, that just about wraps up today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed the sample responses. If you did, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you still have not done so, share the content with your close friends and family members if they need the extra assistance, but most importantly, if you are a self-disciplined and dedicated person, reach out to me about my tutoring services. Let's get the score that you need and deserve as quickly as possible. Peace!